Welcome back everyone, I'm Genevieve Moongarden and my fire is finally getting his spells upgraded, so let's do that and go over the spell audit notes. Alrighty, and I am getting these notes from the post from Kyle Icewielder into the Wizard101 forums in the sections that are each individual school and all the spells that are changed. Now we're going to start off with the lore spells. First up is Brimstone Revenant. This one didn't have too many changes. It went from 4 pips to 2 pips and a fire pip. And for this one, as you upgrade it, the damage increases, and only at tier 5 does the trap increase from 25% to a 30% fire trap. Next up is Krampus. All the versions went from 4 pips to 2 pips and a fire pip. Tier 1 went from 325 median damage to 440 median damage, and it still gives that negative accuracy. They've had a lot of changes to Krampus recently, so this is hopefully the final one, at least for a long while. The top path is the same as the base path, where you're doing damage and then giving a negative accuracy. The only difference between tier 1, 2, and 3 is the damage goes up on them. The negative accuracy charm stays at minus 45%. The bottom path, however, the damage went from a median of 325 to now a protected DOT of 525 over 3 rounds. And my favorite part, it detonates one DOT, then puts another DOT on them. So I love to spam this spell. It's fantastic. They have no chance whatsoever. He has not learned Burning Rampage, but it went from 4 pips to 2 pips and a fire pip, and it used to do a DOT of 700 over 3 rounds. Now it's a protected DOT of 780 over 5 rounds. Ah, Hephaestus, my new best friend. That's because my fire finally gets to learn it. Yay, weekly Spellements. There's not a lot of changes with this one. It went from the cost of 5 pips to now 3 pips and a fire pip. Used to do 400 base damage, and now it's 415 base damage. The accuracy stays the same as you level it up. The plus 25% fire damage global stays the same as you level it up, and then only the damage goes up as you level this up. So let's learn it. Unlock? Yes, we shall. And that took 35 Spellements to unlock, and it'll take 75 Spellements to get to tier 2. Next up is Nautilus Unleashed. Oh, he's so close to tier 3. This one had quite a few changes. All of the versions, it went from 5 pips to 3 pips and 1 fire pip. Tier 1 didn't have any restrictions. Now it's no PvP, as well as the entire top path. But the damage did go up just a little bit from the previous version. And the top path steals 1 charm and then it does damage. And only the damage increases as you level that one up. The bottom path, however, it used to do a DOT of 630 over 3 rounds. Now it does a protected DOT 400 over 4 rounds. It pushes up to 2 traps before it does that DOT. Pretty nice. And that's it for this naughty spell. There's a couple spells that got a little change. Detonate went from 1 pip now to 0 pips, still detonating 1 over time, dealing 100% of the damage. And then Inferno Salamander went from doing a DOT over 3 rounds to now doing a protected DOT over 4 rounds. The Shadow Spells on Fire got a bit of changes. He doesn't have any of them yet, he's still a youngin', but Fire from Above went from 1020 damage to a protected DOT of 1260 damage over 5 rounds. It used to give 1 25% trap, now it gives 3 20% traps. And the Raging Bull went from 765 base damage to 785. It used to give a minus 40% accuracy charm. Now it detonates that DOT. In Small Machine, the top path has been changed to no PvP while still doing damage and putting 3 15% fire traps on. And the bottom path went from 4 pips and 3 pips to now just costing 5 pips. And the damage went way up from 745 to 1040. Woo! I know it's the median of the tier 3. That's the highest tier. All of these give 3 15% overtime fire traps. That's important to note because it's just like Nath the Scarab, which only gives, well, yeah, this one has a different overtime. It says it's a clock. I don't know why my dude keeps moving here. Yeah, this one shows a clock and this one shows damage over time. I'm assuming it's the same one. I could be wrong. Like I said, he's a youngin' and he doesn't have the spell yet. Then finally for the Shadow Spells Blast Off, the top path has been changed to no PvP, and it used to do 1210 damage over 3 rounds. Now it does 1300 over 4 rounds. A little bit of an increase there. And the bottom path, just like with the other Shadow Spells, they've taken away the lowering of the pip cost to now cost the same as the base, and they really increase the damage. It used to do 700 average over 3 rounds, and now it does 1005 over 4 rounds. And now, getting into those bottom path for the Arc 1 spells, because the top path didn't get changed. Firecad, the bottom one used to cost 2 pips, now it costs 1 pip. It used to do 115 damage, now it does 65. And of course, that would be the median of the tier 5. I love that it detonates. That's so nice. Very, very nice. And of course, it doesn't actually mention anything about the detonating, which is kind of interesting because that's a big deal. Detonating that one over time. So it takes 115 spell elements to get to tier 3. Let's do it. Yes. And then I will need 190 spell elements to get that to tier 4. Alrighty, next up is Fire Elf. Now I did have a lot of these previously upgraded before, but while it was a training point buyback, I figured let me just do like all the fire spells and see which ones I really want to do. Okay, so Fire Elf, the bottom one, it used to be like tier 1 where it did a hit and then an overtime. Now it does not. And they changed it from 165 over 3 rounds to 195 damage over 3 rounds. It used to do the AoE, which I really liked, but now it is for one single target, which that's okay because they have a lot of fire AoE DOTs. Seriously, I'm okay with that. And it clears a positive ward on yourself, aka a shield, and does even more DOT on the target. So it's nice. If you have a shield, it gives almost the same amount of DOT over 3 rounds. So it's giving him 2 DOTs. As you upgrade this, the initial DOT damage goes up, but the potential one does not. Let's upgrade this. I mean, we've already been doing this one. I mean, that's nice and all to increase the damage, the initial damage and the damage over time. But you know what? Let's go with the special one on the bottom. Yep, let's go. And then 115 more spell elements will get us to tier 3. Let's go. And it's quite a ways away, but need 190 spell elements to get to tier 4. Alrighty, Sunbird, you pretty thing. Let's go. Previously, it extended the DOT by 1 round, which they took off. I guess, I don't know, maybe no one was using that. And now, if an enemy has a DOT, not just any old overtime, but a damage over time, it does 190 more damage, so 450 total. Of course, that's without being boosted or your wizard's particular stats. Nice. 75 spell elements to get it. Let's, of course, go to the lower path. Of course, the upper path does more base damage, but definitely more potential damage if they have an overtime. And gee, what does fire specialize in? Overtimes. Upgrade, yes. And we don't quite have enough to bump that up to tier 3, which would cost 115 spell elements. And Immolate is next. Previously, the bottom path did 150 damage to you, then 480 damage to the enemy, and then a heal over time on yourself. And now it does 210 damage on you, gives a protected overtime of 520 over 4 rounds, and now it can clear 1 to 2 negative wards to do damage of 126 over 3 rounds or 252 over 3 rounds, depending on how many of those negative wards it uses. Now, I find that very, very interesting because I see nothing about an additional overtime on here. It just says, now that is very, very vague because all it says is clear 2 protected, very, very tiny symbol, which you might have to get really close to see, colon damage over time. It doesn't tell you how much. It doesn't tell you anything. This is super vague spell. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's upgrade it. Yes, we want that special stuff on the bottom. And not quite gonna make it to 115 spell elements to get that to tier 3, but not too far away either. Better do some more farming and Dragonspire. Phoenix, Phoenix, Phoenix. Yes. At least they gave us that heal over time somewhere. Previously, Phoenix did up to 550 damage on the bottom path, of course, and it used to do 185 or 370 more damage. Okay, so their notes didn't say. I had to look at my previous cards. So it used to do damage and then additional potential damage if the target had a damage over time. They didn't list that on there. Now, yeah, their notes are a little spotty. All it says is damage went from 550 to 515, and it used to do additional damage, and now it does 1 to 2 heal over time. 360 over 3 rounds. Well, yes, but why? It doesn't say why in their notes, but if you look at the spell, it does damage and then gives you 1 to 2 heal over times per damage over time on the target. So that's pretty nice, actually. You're not going to be able to boost up that heal over time because it's conditional. We could definitely boost up that damage. And this one I had upgraded before they ever changed anything, and I like the bottom path, so it's staying here. And the final spell, Relevant. Previously, the damage did an average of 655 for the top tier. Now it does 560. So for the lower path, the damage went way down. Because if you look, its base is 625 to 705, and then, well, it maxes out at 730 on the top path. But on the bottom path, however, it used to do that if the enemy had a positive ward, it did an additional DOT of 270 over 3 rounds. Now it clears 1 to 3 positive wards and gives a protected DOT of 190, 380, or 570 over 3 rounds, It's not 3 DOTs, it's just a DOT with a lot more damage. Very nice. And it's still clearing those positive wards, and they are protected. So you're clearing protected wards for protected DOT over it, which is great because, as we quickly found out at Novus, there's a whole lot of protected wards and charms there. Oh yes, very handy. Let's upgrade this. Oh, indeed we do. Bottom path, let's go. I saw your butt cheeks. And it'll be quite a while before this gets to even tier 3 at 115 SPELLEMENTS. Not bad, not bad. That's a lot of spells to upgrade. And I think these will suit him very well, so I've given my fire the Daybreaker and Nightbringer extra SPELLEMENTS, so let's just unlock those really quick for him. Yes, let's go. These didn't get any change, it's just he's finally unlocking them for himself. Oh yes. Besides, ever since they changed the weekly SPELLEMENT pack to not have only Arc 1 spells in there, it doesn't drop as many Daybreaker and Nightbringer. But you know what? If you need them, you can always go get them in the Catacombs and the Wizard City Underground. That's a lot of spells. Spells learned. Spells upgraded. So many. And that Nautilus Unleashed. I was going to claim the timed rewards on this one in hopes of getting that Nautilus Unleashed, but I think I'm going to be nice and save them for my Life Wizard. Thanks so much everyone for checking out this video, upgrading the fire spells, learning fire spells, unlocking some astral spells with SPELLEMENTS for my Fire Wizard, and checking out all of the fire spell audit notes. I'm excited to test out these changes and see how they change things. But most of all, I'm just happy it's 2023. Thanks so much for checking the video out, and we'll see you later. Bye!